Another attempt to unseat Jacob Zuma fails. Despite a secret ballot, MPs vote to keep him as South African president. The majority of ANC members stay loyal. But was this a missed opportunity? And has the party put itself ahead of the country? This is Inside Story. Hello and welcome to the programme. I'm Martine. Now, South Africa's President Jacob Zuma has survived yet another no-confidence motion, the latest in a number of attempts to remove him from power. And this time, MPs could vote anonymously. Now, President Zuma's critics considered this the best chance yet for members of his own African National Congress party to dare to vote against him. But in the event, not enough of them did. So despite divisions within the ANC, members chose to stick with an increasingly unpopular president. We'll be asking why. But first, Mathole Motshekga with this report from Cape Town.
Opposition parties had said the motion of no confidence was not about removing the ANC. It was to oust President Jacob Zuma. 198 parliamentarians voted against removing him. 177 others wanted him gone. After the vote, Zuma told his supporters the opposition will never force him out.
They believe they could use technicalities in parliament to take over the majority from the ANC. It's impossible. They can't do it. We represent the majority in the public.
The secret voting figures show several ANC politicians may have broken ranks.
We thank them for their courage, and we say to South Africa, we are making progress. We're getting there. This is a big elephant. We said to the whole country, we'll eat this elephant piece by piece. And now evidence is there.
Accountability.
Opposition leaders have vowed to keep up the pressure.
Opposition leaders say the fight to remove President Zuma is not over. They're not giving up, they say. They're going to organize more Zuma must go protests and try to drag him to court to face corruption charges.
The president's term in office has been marred by numerous scandals and allegations of corruption. His supporters say they are standing by him.
The president has not been found being corrupt by a court of law. That we are clear on.
Zuma's role as party leader ends in December. His presidential term doesn't end until 2019.
The opposition says, and many citizens believe, and I think perhaps even some ANC members believe, that the longer he stays in power as president not only of the party, but particularly as president of the country, the more he's consolidating his personal wealth and that of his family.
Zuma has survived previous no-confidence attempts, but this was the first by secret ballot. Analysts warn any more scandals could affect the ruling party's performance in the 2019 elections. Mathole Motshekga, Al Jazeera, Cape Town.
Time to introduce our guests now. In Johannesburg, we have Mzwanele Manyi, a businessman and a former cabinet spokesman and president of the Progressive Professionals Forum. Joining us via Skype from Cape Town is Richard Calland, a law professor at the University of Cape Town. And also in Johannesburg, we have Mathole Motshekga from the African National Congress and former chief party whip. Welcome to you all. Can I start with you then, Mr. Motshekga, and ask you what you make of the fact that President Zuma seems to be able to manage to maintain the support of the party at a time when he seems increasingly unpopular out on the streets of the country, but he's maintaining support from the party faithful?
I think it is a clear indication that the African National Congress understand that the challenges that they have in the organization don't require an intervention by the DA and its allies. These are the challenges that can and will be addressed by the organization itself. As you know, that the situation that we are dealing with arises from the state of capture report, and that report states that a commission of inquiry should be appointed, and the president has accepted that he will appoint that commission. That would be the most competent body to deal with the issues.
So what you're saying, just to get some clarity then, what you're saying is that the ANC will do what it wants when it's ready. It's not going to respond to any motion in Parliament that is tabled by the opposition.
What I'm saying, we're talking about the fact that the president survived the motion. I'm saying that motion, his survival, is informed by the fact that the ANC knows there are remedies that will be taken to deal with the challenges that it faces in governance. And the measure one is the Commission of Inquiry that has been recommended by the Public Protector and accepted by the President himself.
Talking to you now, Mzwanele Manyi, also in Johannesburg. So do you consider this then to be a victory for the ANC? I mean, perhaps as many as 30 ANC members of Parliament voted with the other side. They crossed the aisle. Can this be considered a victory?
Without a doubt, this is indeed a victory, because this whole shenanigan that has been brought about by opposition was actually not necessarily directed at the president, but it was characterized as if they're actually dealing with the president, when in fact the whole strategy was to dislodge the ANC. These people are people that do not want to respect the constitution. Part of their baggage, part of their problem is the fact that the president has changed finance ministers. They are still grieving about that, yet when the president changed the finance ministers without consulting them, he did not have any obligation whatsoever to consult them.
Can I just interject? Because, of course, the vote on Tuesday was, according to the Democratic Alliance, the opposition, was because the president showed, and I quote, reckless and irrational behaviour in managing the economy, sacking, as you refer to, sacking 2 finance ministers almost within as many days, and then, of course, overseeing the demise of the South African economy, where you have massive unemployment. Your government bonds have been rated at junk status. I mean, what more do you need? This was actually directed at the president.
No, I think this is the whole issue I'm trying to say to you, that the president, in terms of our constitution, has got a right to remove and to appoint ministers, and the president has done that. And what has caused the fracas in terms of the issues you're talking about is how those that did not take kindly to the reshuffling of cabinet have acted in a manner that has undermined business confidence in the country, just like they have done yesterday here, that when they were coming into this motion of no confidence, they mobilize the streets, they create all kinds of anxiety in the nation as if the systems are not working. Yet in South Africa, we've got a very good governance system. Everything works. When you say there's going to be an election, that election gets done on the date as pronounced, and there's never been a situation where the outcome of the elections has ever been contested. So there's absolutely no reason not to adhere to the governance system of the country. What you have an opposition that loses the vote of the people at the ballot box, and they try all kinds of shenanigans, all kinds of tactics, all kinds of dirty tricks to try and get to power. Even yesterday, after a secret ballot yesterday that they have lost, they are now saying they're going to court to come up with something else, because they just don't want to accept the democratic outcome of any process.
Let's ask Richard now, as a South African observer of the political process. Mzwanele considers this whole business of the secret vote in Parliament to be the dirty tricks of the opposition. Is that all it is? Is that all it amounts to?
No, I would disagree. And although I have no skin in this game, I don't represent the opposition parties at all. I'm an independent political analyst and constitutional law professor. My view is this was democracy at work. This was the opposition using the constitutional and institutional means available to them to put pressure on a president that they feel is letting the country down.
But ultimately they failed, Richard.
They failed, but very important point to recognise. I've been watching Parliament for 23 years, since President Mandela won the first democratic election in 1994. On no occasion has more than one or two ANC MPs voted for the opposition or defied their whip. Yesterday, at least 30, perhaps 35 ANC MPs did exactly that. That's a very significant moment. What it means is that there is a body of opinion within the ANC that is extremely disgruntled. It took a major act of courage and political principle for those members of the ANC to say enough is enough, and we will actually cross the floor and vote with the opposition. That was an extraordinary thing. It was a watershed moment, I suggest. And it suggests that there is a real division within the ANC, that Mr. Zuma no longer enjoys the support of his party, and that his position is now considerably weakened.
All right, Mathole Motshekga then, as a senior figure within the party itself, why doesn't the ANC cut loose this unpopular figure of a president by maintaining the support of President Zuma? Aren't you damaging the actual brand, the African National Congress of Nelson Mandela?
You see, the Democratic Alliance and its fellow travelers are making a mistake by thinking that the conduct of the ANC MPs who voted yesterday, which what appears to be supporting them, is because they are unhappy with the ANC. They are members of the ANC who have issues with the president, and the chief whip of the ANC correctly says that the ANC must go and take stock about what is happening in itself and address the question of unity. But also the chief whip said that there are serious matters, especially in governance, that must be taken stock of. So the ANC doesn't need the DA to solve its own challenges. And I think the importance of the vote by the ANC members yesterday is that they have put the issues facing the organization and government back on the agenda. So I have no doubt that the leadership of the ANC will meet and address the challenges that are threatening to create disunity within the organization.
Well,
and also
it seems very much as though you already have disunity within the ANC itself. We've been hearing, haven't we, murmurings that have been growing louder and louder over the recent months, if not the last year or so, against Jacob Zuma, many asking him to resign. Cyril Ramaphosa, his deputy, received a petition with 1 million signatures on just before this vote took place, asking for Jacob Zuma to step down. The ANC would be better placed if it were without Jacob Zuma. Wouldn't you agree?
No, you see, the disunity that exists is about the issues. The ANC has the capacity to redeem itself from that situation. And I think that the voting yesterday has sent a signal that the ANC must go back and take stock and deal with the issues that threatens its unity. So there's no crisis. The ANC can and will redeem itself.
Mzwanele in Johannesburg, the issues that are causing so much distress within the country, as we've touched upon, you know, the high unemployment, the scandals surrounding the president ever since 2009, these issues are not going away. So while the ANC is navel-gazing, is working out the issues for itself, obviously in December, President Zuma no longer is the leader of the party. But while the ANC is considering all of these issues, it's actually losing face with the public. And of course, you have presidential elections in 2019.
Yeah, look, I think, in fact, I should have corrected you right in your insert, because in your insert, you make a factually incorrect statement. You say that the party voted in the interest of the party instead of in the interest of the country, as if there's a contradiction. I think you must accept that the ANC is a party that enjoys a popular support in South Africa. There is no party, in fact, all of them put together the opposition parties don't even make 52%. Don't even get to 50%.
But that support is waning, isn't it? This is the point.
Can I just make the point? Can I just finish the point? The issue here is that your insight is incorrect to characterize the decision of the ANC as if it's a selfish decision of a party when it's a decision that represents the majority of the people. The 1 million signatures that we even talk about does not take into context that South Africa has got about 55 million people. In fact, 1 million people is just ordinary ANC members on their own. So if we were to counter that, we'll clean that out until there's nothing. So your characterization must try and reflect objectivity. I think what you must understand is that President Zuma has never been unanimously elected, even within the ANC structures, but his popularity, even within the ANC, is growing. In Polokwane, he got 60%. In Mangaung, he got 75%. Even if you were to look at even this latest parliament support, out of the 259 members of the ANC alone, then you've got about 198 that voted to keep him on the seat. That constitutes a huge 80%. So this is a president that is popularly respected. If President Zuma was not respected in the country, South Africa would be burning right now. The reason there's all calmness and everything is because the man enjoys the popular support amongst the ordinary people.
All right, I can see Richard shaking his head. Richard, what's your take on what you've heard? President Zuma is a popular man, increasing his popularity, and everything in South Africa sounds as though it's going along rather nicely.
I don't know which country Mr. Manyi lives in. It's not the one I live in. The country I live in, South Africa, I see protests every day throughout the country. People are angry, they're cross with government for service delivery. They're suffering. Unemployment is rising because of the downgrade. Food inflation is rising because of the downgrade. The downgrades came, the junk status came in early April this year after President Zuma removed Pravin Gordhan as finance minister. That was a huge shock to the system. It was a reckless and negligent act. It provoked huge marches throughout the country the following week. Hundreds of thousands of South Africans across race, class and geography marched to protest against this government. So Mr. Manyi is misleading you in saying that Mr. Zuma retains popularity. Last year, the most reliable poll available to us was the local government elections. The ANC lost power in 3 important cities in the country, in Johannesburg, in Pretoria and Port Elizabeth. Previously, places where that it enjoyed huge support. It fell beneath 50% in all 3 of those cities and lost control of government. So Mr. Manyi and the Zumarites, who are so closely associated with a corrupt, cronyist form of capitalism and who are actually anti-transformation, this is the real issue here. It's about what sort of government do South Africans deserve, and the real test for that will be 2019. I fear that the ANC is sleepwalking towards electoral defeat in 2019. The ANC, unfortunately for them, Mr. Zuma is an electoral liability now. So yesterday was a victory for the opposition and the DA, because although they lost the vote and lost the battle, I suspect that the way things are going, they're going to lose the war.
Okay, so let's go now to Mathole Motshekga and put that to him, because from what Richard is saying, the ANC is walking, he says, into electoral disaster, pretty much. Again, if you were to cut loose the figure of President Zuma and allow for a transition before a new leader of the party is elected in December, wouldn't that improve your electoral chances, given that you've already seen support for the ANC drastically reduce in last year's municipal elections?
The DA is conflating the challenges that face the ANC because of the state of capture report and the popular support of the ANC. The ANC is still choice number 1 for the people of South Africa. Even in the municipal elections, the people that did not vote for the ANC did not vote for the DA. They withheld their vote because they want the ANC to correct the mistakes that they think the ANC has done. And we are saying the ANC has the capacity to self-correct. The ANC has the capacity to redeem itself. And as soon as that is done, the people will vote for the ANC. And the DA makes a mistake that they think they scored a victory yesterday. That victory is not a victory against the ANC because the people have not distanced themselves from the ANC.
When you say that that the ANC can self-correct, what exactly do you mean? And if it can it do it in time, given that in December you elect a new leader of the party and then you've got 2 years before presidential elections?
The ANC is a constitutional state. We respect the due process of law. There is corruption. There is also the state of capture report. And now we cannot deal with the corruption and with that report outside the constitution and the law. So the law and the constitution will kick in. We will deal with those issues. As soon as we have dealt with them, the public will regain their confidence in the ANC, will be reassured that the ANC can deal with challenges. So the ANC is...
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to ask you that as part of this process of self-correction, would that mean cutting short the second term of Jacob Zuma? Will you let him go at 2019, or will you allow him, in December 2017, or will you allow him to serve all the way through to 2019, or will you cut his term short?
You see, he has not been convicted by any court of law. All that we are saying is that there is a state of capture report which calls for the Commission of Inquiry. The Commission of Inquiry will inform us as to who has committed a crime, and we will deal with those people. Our courts are open. We have an efficient prosecution. So we don't want to prejudge people, and we don't want to run kangaroo courts. We don't want to find people guilty before the people are tried. But our legal system is in place, and as soon as the commission gives us a report, we will deal with those that are found.
Mzwanele, Manyi in Johannesburg, you sounded very much as though you're in favour of President Zuma. Presumably, therefore, you would like him to see through his full term to 2019.
Indeed, I think we must respect the voiceless people that are in the majority. The fact that Mr. Calland has got access to media every day does not give him the right to speak on behalf of the people. And this is a problem with the DA and Mr. Calland, who is, for all intents and purposes, a member of the DA, that they think that because they are opulent, they've got all the resources, therefore they can speak on behalf of the poor.
I do have to jump in there, because I don't think Richard Calland is a member of the DA, but can we just ask him himself? Richard Calland, are you a member of the DA?
Certainly not. I've been highly critical of the DA over the years. I used to be a member of the ANC some 23 years ago. I resigned my membership when I started becoming an independent analyst in monetary parliament.
Okay,
I've been highly critical of the DA.
All right, well, let's get back to Mr. Manyi then to finish off. So he's not a member of the Democratic Alliance. He is just critical of the ANC as an independent commentator. And could I ask you to be brief, please?
Yeah. Okay. No, I think indeed the people of South Africa elected President Zuma for a 5-year term. And the people of South Africa have not said anything different. So we are governed here by a constitutional democracy, and therefore we are a rule of law country. We cannot have a situation where people are impatient, people have got a problem of subjecting themselves to processes that are democratic, processes that are constitutional. So President Zuma has been elected up until 2019. He's going to serve his full term because that's what he's been elected for. There is nothing in the law that says he must stop doing that.
All right. Can I say a big thank you to all of you for taking part in the conversation. Mzwanele Manyi, Richard Calland and Mathole Motshekga. Thank you all very much indeed. And as ever, thank you for watching the programme. You can see it again anytime you like by going to the website, aljazeera.com. If you want more discussion, as I'm sure you do, you can go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/AJ Inside Story. And there's the Twitter sphere as well. Our handle is @AJ Inside Story. I'm @Martine Dennis. From the whole team here in Doha, it's bye for now.